Hey, welcome back. Today is the 6th of April 2024. It's a Saturday. It's later in the afternoon. Getting a late start because I did some prep work earlier today and finished up all of the just the leftover dimpling that had to be done on the aft spars. And then I brought a buddy over here and we did some practice team riveting. My arms are not long enough to do this myself. So my buddy, who's doesn't really want to be on camera, but kind enough to do this with me. He and I will start riveting on the top skins here. So we'll see how this goes. Thanks for being here. And today we're actually going to build an airplane.
Yep, so I'm pretty excited to be at this stage finally because of the long delay of many months that I took. But yeah, in a few days, these wings will be coming down off of the stands. I can proudly say that I remembered to put the wing walk doubler in there. I decided that I'm going to go ahead and install or cleco on both of the skins, the inboard and the outboard skin on this wing. And you can see that I'm putting a cleco in every other hole and along those ribs. Probably overkill. And for the rest of this riveting that I do, I won't be doing that. But this is the first one I'm doing on this, and I haven't done it, so I just wanted to make sure that it was all pulled tight. But that thing fits so well, especially now that the fuel tanks and the leading edge are installed. That thing is just true. So it all went on really nicely. I really do appreciate my buddy Aaron for coming out and helping me get started on the riveting. We didn't get that far. More about that as we continue in this video. I've never done any team riveting before, so before any of this was done, with some scrap, we worked together to try to come up with a system of way of communicating to do this and deciding if it were better that that I be on the bucking bar or that he was. And after trying it both ways, we decided that it would be better if he was driving the rivets while I bucked them from the inside of the wing. So, yeah, big help. But this first bit of riveting of main skins, in the first pass on the first rib, kind of getting our rhythm down and all of that sort of thing. That was a bit time consuming. The second rib that we did, I think, took 5 minutes total for both passes. Bearing in mind that as we do this, not all of the rivet sizes are going to be the same. The bulk of them are going to be AN Force 426 3-3.5. Not that that means much to most of you, but the ones along the main spar are different, and then the ones along the main spar that are also at the rib are different still, because it's the main spar is thicker, and then you have the thickness of the rib flange as well. And then, interestingly though, the where I'm kind of pointing at right there, those rivets for the area where the wing walk doubler is are the same as the rest of those, the 3.5 length ones. So I'm interested. We haven't started those yet. I'm interested to see after a couple of them if I'm happy with that rivet length or if I think that I need to go a half size longer. Anyways, here's how it went. Team riveting. It went well. I can happily say that at no point did that rivet gun go skipping across the skin in the front, which of course is a worry because I did it. But I have a flush set that has like a rubber foot around the circumference of it. I picked it up from Brown Aviation, I think, and for this application it works great. It's not really, I don't think, the best set to use, for example, on the leading edges. On the curved surfaces, I think the mushroom set works a little bit better, but for this, and what you see me doing right here is the very first one that we attempted, I'm drilling out. And so what we learned there is that as we got started, I was putting too much pressure on the bucking bar, and so the rivet started to started to squeeze when it wasn't completely flush in the dimple. And we drilled out one rivet cleanly, and that was the only one that required that. The first pass, there were many of those rivets that we had to take several cracks at to get it to the proper, to get the shop head to the proper shape, until we kind of both knew what to expect and feel and to hear on both sides of that wing. And so for me, it was once he was on the rivet with the gun and he could feel the pressure from the bucking bar, just to know that we were on the same rivet. Then to have a really light touch on the bucking bar until it got a little bit of a squeeze, and then I could apply more pressure with the bucking bar, and we could get a nice, well-formed shop head. And on his end, it is a couple of things. One is, here some neighbors are like, "What's all that noise? You guys building an airplane?" Nice people. But yeah, with the rivet gun, for him, it is ramping up, so sort of teasing the trigger and ramping up to the final intensity, I guess you could say, that you want to hit it with. Not try to get there right away, because it is easy to break that trigger over hard and get it to run away. And the second thing I was going to mention, one of the things that I showed him, a technique that I picked up probably from somebody in the Slack group, is that the trigger, you ride your middle finger up underneath the trigger, and it gets behind the trigger itself, so that it limits how far you can pull back the trigger. So if you do flinch, you can only flinch so much before your middle finger blocks the back of the trigger from going too far. So maybe it isn't too easy to visualize what I'm trying to describe, but yeah, when you get a rivet gun in your hand, try that out. And I would recommend anyone, especially first starting out, is just spending some time learning how to get your rivet gun dialed in and learning how to tease the trigger so that you can ramp into the proper intensity slowly, and get a feel for the gun. And I think Aaron did a great job of that. You can see that first rig that we did, it looks super clean. And the second one, like I said, the second one, top to bottom, only took a total of 5 minutes for the first pass, and then pulling out the Clecos and doing the second pass, because then we were in a pretty good rhythm, and most of those only took one hit with the rivet gun. We didn't have to do any sort of touch up. So that's as far as we got. It got into the evening time, and this really does make a racket out in the neighborhood. So in the interest of being a good neighbor, we decided to wrap it up after 2, and we'll pick up some more of it tomorrow. But I did get about an hour of work in before this, just doing the dimpling. So 2.5 hours on the day. It was a good day, and we'll see you on the next one.